so I had to learn how not to get so much engaged into that, where it is important to me, but I say, what are they trying to distract us from by using this checkers game where you have to say, okay, what bills are being passed that are going to affect my daily life? And that's my advice for a lot of people when we hear Biden and we hear what the Republicans' response and the Republicans' response versus the Democrats' response. What are they really trying to distract us from versus how are these elected officials really working for you, regardless if it's a federal, state, or local, to see how you can put more bread and more money in your bank?
Amen. Absolutely. For those that are tuning in, you're listening to the Chauncey Show podcast, where we're always right and we're never left. We put God first and politics second. I'm your host, Chauncey. We're honored and we're blessed to have in the studio greatness in Black history. She is the niece of veterans, and she's also the grandniece of a Tuskegee Airman. So we have Black history in the house on Black History Month.
Thank you.
Aja,
I tell people, you know, it's nothing wrong celebrating a culture. It's nothing wrong. Right now, it's not only Black History Month, but it's Chinese New Year, you know, celebrations, and it is amazing. Like in my district, my district I think is now 39 because we got redistricted, so I'll be working on changing all of that. But we have a great celebration for not only Black History Month, but we also celebrate Chinese New Year in my district, and hopefully we'll have the big celebrations in downtown Riverside, and it's amazing. And I tell people it's okay to celebrate. If you want to learn, if you want to get involved and learn about other people's cultures, it's no shame in it. And it is a part of American culture. It's a part of American history because you learn that everybody has contributed to make America the way it is. You can't go to Germany and expect Black History Month. You can't go to different countries. Of course, you're going to go to Germany, you're going to have Oktoberfest and every other fest, right? And you're going to go to different countries. But America, we brought all of that here under one continent. And so this learning history, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the Clint Eastwood style, you get a better sense of, wow, this is amazing. Look how much we accomplished. Look how much we can accomplish by learning from the past and moving forward in the future.
Amen. And, you know, I want to just footnote, Black History Month, to me, is just not about the history of Black people, but it's about the history of all those people that were involved to help elevate Black people. There are a lot of people that have been engaged in the process, albeit white, Chinese, Jewish, whatever, that help Black people in this country thrive through the challenges, whether it be Martin Luther King, through slavery, whether it be through the development of NAACP. So I want to remind everyone that please, just because it's Black History Month, if somebody played a role in Black History Month, please share it with us. Albeit no matter what color or shade they are, because it is history. It is history, and if we don't know our past, we will not understand our present, and we will have no conception of the future. I'm a big history guy, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm disappointed that they took down the General Lee statute, because how we know what happened during the civil rights, during the Civil War, if you continue to take away history, like you said, we'll be doomed to repeat it.
Correct.
And even in California and the public schools across the country, we're not teaching our children the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, statesmanship, civic duty. We're not teaching them how to understand what government means, what the role of government is, the responsibilities of our elected officials.
Right.
These are the fundamental things that should be taught in our educational system, along with reading, writing, and arithmetic. We lag. This nation lags behind in graduation rate among high school students in the world. That's appalling. Yet you want to institute critical race theory where we should be teaching our kids critical thinking skills. You want to teach our children sex education with using vegetables instead of teaching our kids how to cook, instead of teaching our kids a trade, how to do wood shop, how to make lamps, how to make bookshelves. This is the type of education that our children need, so when they graduate, if they don't go to college, they have a skill set. And parents, I want to thank all the parents across the nation for standing up against this racist, bias, critical race theory, outlining that blacks are victims and whites are the perpetrators. Please. Everyone is accountable and responsible for their own actions. When you're born into this world, that is the blessing that God gave you. What you do with the blessing that God gives you is your choice. Not the government's choice, not the white man's choice. It's the choices you make. That's what God gives us, is free will. Be accountable to your own actions. Stop pointing the finger, blaming someone else. You know, and I'm going to just finish up because I'm upset thinking about an NFL commercial I saw when a black kid was blaming a white kid for making more money than him. You know, my father raised me. Challenge yourself. Be the best you can be. And I'm watching a black kid play victim on national television on the NFL, appalling to me. And I apologize for getting compassionate and excited, but these are critical issues. When Aja's talking about policies and laws that impact our families, this is what I'm talking about. Not the BS that we hear, the rhetoric, the propaganda. How are our children, how are our families, how are our seniors going to thrive and survive in this world today? Instead of talking about black versus white, gay versus straight. If all you people were in God, all of those things would not be an issue. Pick up a Bible and get in God. Save yourself before you lose yourself. Aja, thank you very much, and I'm sorry I took up a few minutes of your time.
That's okay. Everybody wants to, express how they want. I want to touch on a great quote I posted to kick off Black History Month today by Carter Woodson, who is the founder of Black History Month. And a lot of people don't know the history, but to understand that, it wasn't chosen because it was the smallest month. It was actually just a week, and he was actually a black historian and a Republican to align with Douglas and Lincoln's birthday. But what Mr. Woodson said, those who have no record of what their forebears have accomplished lose the inspiration which comes from the teaching of biography and history. So when that really resonated when I saw. I said, who should I put up for today? And I said, you know what? I'm going to put the founder of Black History Month, Mr. Carter Woodson, and to really dig more into people who fought for different liberties and rights, to even before 1864 emancipation. And so when I talk to people of what's going on, the average person, especially in my area, and other people I met across the country, is that we just want to live peacefully. We just want to have a thriving community. And we just want limit to government. We want to just be able to raise our families or become entrepreneurs and so on and so forth. But when we have a government that's constantly pushing policy, this is where I tell people, and it's not my quote, it's Cindy Johnson's quote. You can follow her on Twitter. The government closest to you controls you, and that's absolutely true. People tend to look at the federal government as the all-to-go for everything, but if you're a true conservative, if you're a Republican, and you're always looking for the federal government to solve your problems as well, then you're for big government. You don't have conservative principles for limited government. And so that's one thing I've been noticing on the right, especially with some people running, where I look at their platform and I say, well, that's a local and state issue, not a federal issue. We have to go back down to what is the role of the federal government and state government and local government. And that is one of my key goals this year. If I win, I win. If I don't, God always leads me to a different direction to fight and to bring something better to the table. I don't put all my eggs in one basket. My goal in life is to educate and teach. Is to really get people to start thinking and to save our constitutional republic, because a lot of people on both sides fail to realize we live in a constitutional republic, and to really start helping people understand that, especially on the right, with a lot of people who just got into politics. And that's one of the things that I'm formulating. That's with my own small business and everything else. And so to really get people to understand how policy works, because policy, at the end of the day, it starts at the local level. Policy goes up to the state level. Policy goes up to the federal level. And here we are fighting over so many things that we could have put the fire out at the local level to not expand. California just was trying to mandate universal health care, and that bill did not go through, because it would have cost us so many billions of dollars of raising taxes in California, excuse me, that we'll all probably be in the soup kitchen, because that, to have universal health care in the population size of California, it can't work. Do I believe people should have great health care? Of course I do, but to have universal health care, to have this one single-payer system, it won't work, because we may have a huge surplus, and we know there's a lot of people that don't have health care, but we have other health care programs that I help navigate people to get, such as Medi-Cal and IEHP. And we have about 7 or 8 to 10 different carriers for health care, and I personally help people trying to get those resources, and they thank me. But, we did stop that bill here in California, but it doesn't mean it will pop back up again. And that's where I saw the left and the right for people saying, wait a minute, the cost would be way too much to implement single-payer health care in California. People would definitely move. They will raise our taxes up extremely high when we could not afford anything. We can't afford anything right now. The groceries are up, gas is up, everything is up, because of our taxes. We pay the highest taxes in the whole entire country. We actually also pay the most federal taxes as well. And so this is where I made it a mission, and the goal this year is to really push for people to understand the system of government. It's like, I'm going to link you up, because I want you to interview my friend. He goes by the name of Man of Justice. I call him my mentor for Constitution, and you need to interview him too. I'll link you up, and give you his contact information, because we need to start going back to the foundations of the Constitution and how our liberties and everything. And when it comes down to people's, I don't want to be a Republican, but I also tell them, well, you sound like a conservative. Well, that's Republican. No, it's not Republican. The conservative is an ideology. Same thing with socialism is an ideology. Communism is an ideology. It's just that conservatives have adopted or accepted the term, even though it's getting different factions in it. But like you said, I'm a constitutional conservative. And so when I engage with people, I don't belong to the factions of the conservative movement. I just go back to the basic principles, because I do have a lot of Democrat friends who are actually conservative, and they understand the principles, but they're just Democrats. I can't help that, but hey, at least we can have a decent conversation. And when it comes to trade, yes, we need more trade schools for our young people. If you on Twitter, if your followers are on Twitter, I highly recommend you that you follow